Greetings, Bat fans. It's me, Andy DiGenova, host of Holy Batcast. Hopefully, you're already familiar with the podcast, the audio podcast, Holy Batcast, on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast action. Hopefully, you're already listening and subscribing to that. But now, I'm also the host of these YouTube videos, Holy Batcast, talking about, of course, Batman. I'm doing my best to try and create more of these videos for you folks who are a little more visually oriented or just like to waste time on YouTube when you're supposed to be working. I know how it is. Trust me, I don't blame you. As always, I have to welcome our special guests here, the cats. That's Desmond and Johan. They're just going to be running around the background. Sorry if it's distracting. Hopefully you'll forgive me. They are cute, so that means something, right? They're adorable, and they're very sweet. They just like to hang out when I'm trying to get this kind of stuff done. Anyway, the reason I'm coming to you is, first of all, make sure that you do me a huge favor. If you haven't checked out the audio podcast, check out these videos that we are doing here on YouTube, Holy Batcast. Please subscribe to the Holy Batcast channel here on YouTube. It would be a huge help to us, and just like Michael Keaton's Batman always says, I want you to tell all your friends about it. So please, if you got Batman fan friends, let them know about the YouTube channel, let them know about the podcast. I'm always trying to bring you new Batman talk as often as possible, and that's part of why I'm trying to do more of these videos for you. Hopefully you like them. If you don't like them, well, just stick to the audio podcast. You don't have to write anything mean underneath. You don't have to do that. You can just move on. It's okay. Sometimes it hurts my feelings when I get a random stranger telling me how much I suck. Yay, the internet. I love it. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that we're here to talk about Batman, specifically to talk about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, it is Sunday as I'm recording this, and that means we've just completed the second weekend of the box office with Batman v Superman. That's what I want to talk to you about, is the box office results, what those mean, and a lot of the kind of talk and buzz going around about this film, about the DC Extended Universe, about Zack Snyder, things like that. Just kind of share my thoughts. I know that it's a hot topic right now, especially amongst Batman fans. So I figured it's definitely a good thing to chat about. Before we get into that, though, I gotta give a little shout out to Fan Emblems, because Fan Emblems were super cool and sent me some awesome Batman stuff. So they sent me this really cool chrome bat symbol for the back of the car, the back of my Batmobile. So that's awesome. And then these really cool... Oh geez, what did I do with the... Oh, it's stuck to the back of it. These really cool sticker emblems as well. So we got a Batman v Superman emblem here, which is awesome. And what I love about these is they are so they're like thick and high quality. Like you can tell that they're gonna last, which is super cool. So we got that one, and then I got this big, massive Superman one, the Man of Steel himself. So anyway, if you love these and you want one for your car or your computer or whatever, check out fanemblems.com. Again, huge thank you to Fan Emblems for sending these my way. Really, really appreciate it. Now I just got to figure out where they're going to go because I don't want to waste them. So, and it's like my car is going to be due for a refresh in like 8 months, so I'm like, maybe I just wait for the new car to put them on. I've got a few months to figure it out, but these are super cool. Thank you, Fan Emblems. Check out fanemblems.com again to see where you can get your cool Batman v Superman, and they also have some very cool classic DC Comics ones, so if you're not into the movie versions, but you're into the comic book versions, they got those too. Check those out. Let's talk about the box office of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, last weekend's box office was really, really strong. They opened, of course, you probably found out, $166 million domestic here in the United States and $420 million worldwide. Huge opening weekend. Warner Brothers, I'm sure, was over the moon. Biggest March opening of all time, beating the Hunger Games, which I kind of expected to happen. Biggest superhero weekend of all time worldwide with $420 million. Really strong opening weekend. Again, Warner Brothers is excited. Really bodes well for the interest in this film, as well as the interest in the DC Extended Universe. So, good weekend last weekend. Now we have finished weekend 2. This is where things get a little tricky, I'll be honest with you. So, got to bring up the numbers because I want to make sure I am telling you the truth. So, second weekend in. Now, Friday, there was a lot of kind of like doomsayers that this second weekend is going to fall by over 70%, which is a huge drop for a movie like this. And so there was already tons of talk around that drop. Well, it's Sunday night now, and so the estimates are in. The estimate is that it didn't quite drop 70%. It dropped 68% to about $52 million for the weekend domestic. So the numbers are where we are now. Let's see here. Estimated $52.3 million. So that's about a 68.4% drop. It's only a 62% drop if you don't count the Thursday preview screenings, which were factored into the opening weekend. You can factor them in or not, honestly. I mean, I think they count because part of the reason they are factored in is so that way you can say, oh, record-breaking opening weekend, even though it includes Thursday. So I think it's only fair to kind of include it for the following week. So that is, again, a 68% drop. With that 58%, Batman v Superman is up to... Where are you? There you are. To $261 million and change for domestic, and an additional $421 million worldwide, for a grand total in 11 days of $682 million. The good news is that's a huge number. There is nobody upset about making $680 million in 11 days for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. That bodes well for the long-term prospects of the film. It bodes well for the worldwide gross. I think that the worldwide gross is going to creep over that $1 billion mark, that magical billion. And if not, it's going to come pretty darn close. Word is that it had to make about $800 to break even. Anything after that is gravy. It's going to do that easily. How much past it goes $1 billion really depends on how it holds up moving forward. But here comes the reality check. 68% drop is nothing to celebrate. It's not the end of the world, but it stings and it hurts. And I know that people come to Holy Batcast and come to me for positivity, and I'm being as positive as humanly possible because I love the movie. You've heard me talk about how much I love the movie. You've heard me here on Holy Batcast. You've heard me on Batman News. You've heard me on Batman Universe. I'm everywhere saying how much I like this movie, and I really do. I'm going again. That's how much I like it. The problem is that the reality is that the word of mouth is still extremely mixed, and that, I think, is what really factored into this drop on the second weekend. So, it's not the end of the world. Other huge movies have dropped like that. The great example is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 dropped 72%. From its first weekend to its second weekend, which was massive. But with movies like this that have so much anticipation, they're extremely front-loaded. They really appeal to kind of the hardcore fans, and that's, I think, why you see a bigger drop like that. And you see less of a drop with something like, say, Star Wars The Force Awakens, because everybody wanted to see that. Batman v Superman, everybody went last week, and then how much that repeat business happens or how much casual moviegoers keep going, that's the stuff that's all kind of up in the air. And unfortunately, it looks like the word of mouth, even though the word of mouth is very strong from fans, there is strong social media support for the film, I think that the word of mouth is still very mixed, which is causing, I think, a little bit of hurt and a little bit of pain in the box office results for this film. Now, honestly, I think that Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is a pretty good comparison, because it opened at almost the same as Batman v Superman, and then it had a slightly bigger drop as Batman v Superman, and then it kind of leveled off, and so it went on to do a domestic total of about $381 million. So I think that is a pretty good number to expect for where Batman v Superman will end up. Right now, depending on how well it holds up, it's estimated to land between $360 and $380 domestic. And then worldwide, again, I think it's going to be $1 billion, 1.1, something like that, depending on how well these other territories keep going. So it's not the end of the world, but unfortunately it is a big bummer that we hoped that the word of mouth for this film would kind of help carry it past some of those negative reviews, a lot of those negative reviews that are going on about the film. So that leads us to the big question as far as what does that mean for the future of the DC Extended Universe. I think that this film is going to be fine. It's going to make its money back because just the interest in having Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together for the first time on film was enough to get people to come out to the theater and to pay their hard-earned money and see the film. I think enough of the film is good enough that it's still going to do okay. The question is, and I hate to even say it out loud, but again, it's kind of the reality, is what does this mean for Zack Snyder? I love Zack Snyder. I'm a huge Zack Snyder fan. I think Zack Snyder loves these characters to his core. I think he really, really does. But the conversation has been, does Zack Snyder stay as part of the steering committee of this DC extended universe? And it's a really tough call because he made Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. Man of Steel was my favorite movie of 2013. I love it. Not everybody loves it. It was extremely divisive. Some people hated it. Some people thought it was okay. Kind of all over the place. Kind of building on Man of Steel, they went to Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, because you add Batman, Wonder Woman, and the launch of the DCEU, a lot of people were willing to give it a second chance, even if they didn't like Man of Steel. For people who love Man of Steel, like myself, like my co-host Jamie Drewley, like my co-host on the Batman universe, Jamie Magoo, we love Man of Steel. We weren't worried if we were going to love Batman v Superman, but what Batman v Superman had to do was win back the people who did not like Man of Steel for the long-term success of the film. I'm afraid that is where the movie failed. It wasn't able to do that. In fact, it seems like it is received worse than Man of Steel, which, again, it's a shame, but it's the reality of it. So the people who were still willing to give this movie a chance, even if they didn't like Man of Steel, I feel like they were let down again. I think there are some people who didn't like Man of Steel but like this better. I know quite a few people like that, and that's awesome. But as far as like winning back the overall goodwill of the audience, I don't think this movie didn't. So people were willing to give it a second chance because it was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The question is are they going to give it a third chance with Justice League? I'm not worried about Suicide Squad. I'm not worried about Wonder Woman. Suicide Squad has a completely different feel and a different mood, a different director, and I think that people are psyched for it, and they're going to turn out in droves. I think it's going to be a big hit. Wonder Woman, even the people who didn't like Dawn of Justice loved Wonder Woman, and they can't wait to see her movie. Different director. I think Wonder Woman is going to be great. I think it's going to do great. The real question mark comes with Justice League. Now, Justice League is set to go before the cameras in 8 days. I think, my guess is it's too late. It's moving forward, full steam ahead. Much like Zack Snyder did take some criticism from Man of Steel and shaped Batman v Superman differently, I think he's going to do it again with Justice League. Will he do it enough to make for a more complete crowd pleaser? I don't know. That's the question. And the other question is, will people give it a third chance if they didn't like these last 2 movies? I don't know. So it's going to be really, really interesting to watch. All of the geek commenters are talking about this. Should he stay? Should he go? Will he stay? Will he go? Again, I think because they were so public about him starting to film Justice League on April 11th, and the fact that Jason Momoa and Ray Fisher are out there Instagramming themselves, having the time of their lives, getting ready to shoot Justice League, I think it's going forward. I think that's what's actually going to happen. I wonder how much Warner Brothers is going to interfere here, or how much Ben Affleck is going to take a more active role behind the camera. I wonder if some of these little things and adjustments are going to happen behind the scenes. In fact, I'm pretty sure they will. But Zack Snyder, I think, will still be the director for Justice League. My guess is then once that movie takes place, they're going to kind of relook at Justice League 2, the Batman solo film, Aquaman, Flash, and kind of re-strategize how they want to do it. See? Cats. Sorry, cats. Anyway, how they're going to re-strategize how that's going to work. I do think they will bring in another director for Justice League 2. The good news is that Batman and Wonder Woman were able to give this film a second chance from people who didn't like Man of Steel. Not me. I want to be on record. I still love Man of Steel. I love it. And I love Batman v Superman. So I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. But much like Batman and Wonder Woman were able to get people to give this movie a chance, even if the people didn't like this movie. Number one, I've been saying it the whole time, even the people who didn't like this movie loved Batman and Wonder Woman in this movie, which is great. That's great news for the future of the DCEU. And I think that Justice League, very similarly, because now we're talking Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, that is going to be too great a temptation for people to resist. So I think even the people who didn't like Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice are still going to go see Justice League because it's Justice League, which is great. So again, that'll probably be okay for that film. The question is, what is the end product going to be, and what is the word of mouth going to be? I hope to God the word of mouth and the critical reception is a lot more positive than it was for this film. I still don't think the piling on of this film is fair at all. Unfortunately, it's happening. It's the reality of it, and so the question is, how do we adjust in the meantime? I hope that Justice League doesn't kind of suffer from that same problem. I'm sorry if the cat is distracting. I'm so sorry. That's Johan. He's a spaz. Please forgive me. So that's where we're at. I think Zack Snyder is going to continue with Justice League. I think that there will be adjustments made. I think that Warner Brothers will probably exercise a little more control. I'm sorry. The cat's cracking me up, but I'm not recording this again because I've gone too far. I think that there will be more control given and put on Zack Snyder for Justice League, but I think that they're too far along. They're just going to keep going. And again, because Batman v Superman, because it is still doing fine financially, I think that they have the right to do that. Because if you think about it right now, if they were to, say, postpone Justice League, Zack Snyder steps away in a respectful manner, someone else comes on board, wants to rework the script and change it and move it and whatever, it would be a very public embarrassment for Zack Snyder, for Warner Brothers, for everybody involved, and the box office results are not disastrous enough to really justify that at this point. They could do it because the reception is what the reception is. Again, I don't think that'll happen. So that's my take on kind of where we are with the box office. Hopefully, because of that huge, massive opening weekend and now a much more reasonable second weekend, I hope you're going to see that level off a little bit and you're going to see the movie make its money. Again, 360 on the low end is still a really good place to be. It's still a really nice jump over Man of Steel, and where they are at almost 700 million worldwide, they're already outgrossing Iron Man, Iron Man 2. They'll over the next week or two, they're going to outgrow some of the other big Marvel movies, and Man of Steel. They've already outgrossed Man of Steel in 10 days. So that's all good news. I just hope that the right decisions are being made, so that way the DCEU doesn't continue kind of having to weather these slings and arrows from the people who don't like it, or continue to not like it. It's a shame. Again, for those of us who like it, it's a really kind of depressing time because we really like what's happening. We like what Zack Snyder is doing. We like how bold and brazen he is and the creative risks he's willing to take. Unfortunately, not everybody does feel that way. And before you fill up the comments, yeah, I know that the movie's got problems, and you're saying, oh, you're ignoring those problems. I'm not ignoring those problems. I'm just saying that overall, I like the movie. I like the movie. For me, the pluses outweigh the minuses. I like the movie. So it's not a debate about the quality of the movie. It's just accepting the reality of what the reception of the movie has shown to be. So that is where I will leave it here at the end of week 2 of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. It's an interesting thing to watch, to kind of see it unravel and how things are going to go. But again, I love it. I'm going again. If you love the movie, don't let anyone take that away from you. Continue to go see it. Enjoy the hell out of it. Batfleck forever. He is so good. I think there's just so much to love in the movie, so love that. If you don't love the movie, again, that is totally okay too. That is completely your opinion, and that sucks, and I hope that the next movie or movies will be something that hopefully connect with you a little bit better, so that way the DCEU is in a stronger place. So that's where I'll leave it. As always, I've been Andy DiGenova. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's just Andy DiGenova, my name. But please follow the show. So check out the audio podcast, Holy Batcast, wherever you find podcasts. Follow Holy Batcast all over social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and then here on YouTube. So again, please subscribe. We're really trying to get more of these videos out. Hopefully you enjoy the discussion around Batman. Got more of them to come, so you won't have to wait long. But anyway, that's it. Check out Holy Batcast everywhere, and that will do it. So this has been Andy DiGenova, and this has been Holy Batcast.